In this video, we're going to have a look at some of the ways that you can work with Power BI and Teams. We're going to look at how you can use Teams to collaborate on working with Power BI reports and how you can use Power BI to analyze your data within Teams. All of that and more. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi, my name is Fernan and welcome to the Solutions Abroad YouTube channel, where we cover tips, tricks, and best practices when working with Power BI. I upload new videos every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when a new one is out. So Power BI and Teams are both part of the Microsoft ecosystem, and they're both sort of Microsoft softwares, which means that integration between these two platforms can be quite seamless. If you're already using Teams and Power BI, you should definitely be looking at taking advantage of some of these features to make collaboration and general usage of either softwares a lot easier. So one of the things that you probably noticed when you open and work with a Power BI report within the Power BI service is this button called Chat in Teams, which essentially if you click it, it shows a pop-up icon showing you some options in how you can share this within your Teams. So as you can see here, it lets us share this report within Teams. So from the top here, it gives you an option to share this reports either to a person, to a group, or a channel, which gives them sort of the ability to access your reports quite easily. At the bottom here is where you can add sort of your personal message if you wanted to. This is a report. And you have a link here at the bottom, which will redirect them to reports that are sharing to them. We have a preview here of what the reports that we are sharing and which workspace it is, what it's called. You can minimize that or maximize that preview if you wanted to. You can open the report, which just obviously opens it in the service. And then you can also subscribe to this report, which lets you create a set schedule, which sends you this report automatically on a regular basis. And if you're not too sure about what subscription is and what you can do with it, I did cover it in a video a long time ago, which hasn't really changed since. So if you want to know what it does and how you can set it up for yourself, go check out that video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share it to this channel here, and I'm going to hit share. So what will happen is if we go to now our Teams right here, and if we go to our Teams, you will see that it's now been updated. So we can see here is the one that we've just updated. And then you can use anyone who is in this group that has access to this report will be able to open the report within Teams. And if you're not familiar with Teams, it's basically a kind of a messaging platform that lets you collaborate with your users. You create groups like what they call teams, and you can share things like files, messages, or do calls and collaborate with your teams essentially. One of the key features that it has is its ability to install and use sort of other apps within Teams to enhance your experience. One of them is the Power BI app. So you kind of had a bit of a preview of it earlier when I hit the open button here, but typically you would find and have to install this app. So under here, for example, if it's not available, you'll need to install it obviously. But once it's there, if you click it, you'll see that it will take us to the Power BI service without actually leaving Teams. So at the moment, it's redirecting us to my report because that's the last one that I opened. But if we go back to the group, for example, you notice that when I hit open, it didn't go to my web browser. It just stayed within Teams, and it's kind of letting us work with our Power BI reports without leaving Teams at all. So, you know, you'll have the full interactivity of the reports. You can use the filters, slicers as you want. And not just that, you also have access not just to reports, but to the whole Power BI service. So you can see here we can browse different workspaces, you know, modify our reports, similar to how you would interact with it within the web version. So the benefit of having this app is that if you have users that are, for example, more familiar with Teams as opposed to Power BI, it's kind of a way for them to experience how to work with Power BI without leaving the comfort of this sort of Teams space. So let's go back to my report here, and then let's hit share because I want to generate a link that my users use. So I'm going to just hit copy here, copy link, which creates a link that everyone in my organization can use to view the reports and share it across the business. So we're going to go back to Teams here. I'm going to go back to my Teams team. And another feature that Teams allows you to do now is the ability to create tabs for Power BI within your teams. So when you create groups, you can create different things like channels, documents, which lets you kind of organize your team in sort of one central manner. So at the moment, we are just in the kind of the posts, but you can add other channels as well. You can add notes if you wanted to, you can add files. But here we have the add a tab icon, which lets us add other things, as I mentioned. And one of them is Power BI. So when you click Power BI here, what it will do is it will just add a tab. So if I'm just gonna hit save, and let's just wait for this to load. So now that it's loaded, you can see that it asks for a link, a Power BI link that we can add on this tab. So we'll just paste the URL link that we have copied from the service. If you hit add here, what it will do is it will create a tab within your teams that is showing your Power BI report. This lets you create sort of multiple tabs for individual reports if you wanted to, but I know that this feature is a lot more capable than this, because obviously this link feature at the moment we just clicked and pasted our reports, but it's a bit more versatile than that. So first of all, when you hit the share button, so let's just make a couple of changes here. So let's say we want to make sure that this is always filtering most recent and it's showing just the price. And if I hit the share button here, you'll notice this new option, include my changes. So what it does is that anyone who accesses this report via this link that we will generate will always see the filters that we've applied as a default. So it's very handy if you want your users to, when they go to a report, they will have an individual link which will filter to the data that they might need the most, right? So instead of giving them directly that link, you can paste it here in this chat, or rather in this tab, which will allow them to just open that page pre-filtered to the selections that they are interested in. Another thing is that obviously, because these are links, which means that we can add other Power BI links here, not just reports. So another thing that we can use is link organizational apps. So if you're not familiar about organizational apps, it's just a way to bundle all of our reports within the workspace into this one package, so that when our users consume them, it's sort of one place to go if they want to kind of, you know, use the data that we are giving them. And organization apps look something like this. So I have, I believe, one here. So this is how, let's just see, maybe it's right here. Yeah, this one is an example of an organization app. So as you can see, once it finishes loading, is you can create this organization on the left hand side. You can have different reports in here, and then you can click copy link here, and then you can just have it here as a tab. So again, you know, your users, your collaboration, you don't really need to leave the teams in order to view these reports. You can just paste them here, either reports or organization app. Lastly, what I wanted to show you is, you know, sort of how this integration is quite seamless between Teams and Power BI. So you can use Power BI to analyze the sort of activity that you are having, the data within yourself and your team in Power BI. So when you open Power BI in Teams for the first time, you will probably get this box, lets you create a report. It would say analyze your team's data, which essentially just creates a pre-built Power BI report for you, which analyzes sort of your usage. It doesn't show up to me anymore because it's already created the report for you, but I want to show you what it basically generates. From my memory, it created it under challenges. No, it's probably in people pulse. I just need to find it. Yeah, here we go. So it's going to be called Team Activity Analytics, and it generates a report in a data set. At the moment, I'm the only person in this tenant, so probably won't show any or a lot of information. So as you can see here, you know, like how many meetings I've had, chats. This is just mine, but this one is more towards my teams and sort of team activity details. So again, not a lot of information, at least for my tenant, but if you have a bigger tenant, it is an interesting kind of reports to analyze. And one interesting thing about this is, like most of your reports, because it generates a data set This means that you can connect to this data set and create your own reports. If the pre-generated report is not to your liking or it's not as detailed as you might hope, you can create your own customized reports that monitors your team's activity. And that's really it for this video. I hope that has given you a bit of an understanding of how Teams and Power BI seamlessly integrate between one another. Thanks for watching. As usual, give this video a like if you found it useful. Give it a dislike if you didn't, so to do better for next time. Ask your questions in the comment section box below so I can help you and you can help others. If you really like this video, we have a Patreon page where you can support the channel and get exclusive perks like early access, demo files, and credits at the end of these videos. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.